So I work for the Ashesi Public Relations Department, as well as Alumni Relations. And three things: storytelling, engagement, and fundraising. That's our focus. So currently our portals, the websites, and a couple of social media platforms are what we use, Facebook, whatnot. And on those platforms, we like to increase engagement with students, with alumni, and with people who are interested in Ashesi. Secondly, so that's on the PR side. We just want to get more engagement. And Ashesi's portals are sort of geared towards fundraising. So every story we tell, is in a bid to try to raise funds for that project, or to just get people more interested in Ashesi. So it's financial, it could be just assets, anything. And the other side, student engagement. Like now, we want to find out ways of getting as many students who are interested in activities happening on campus to participate. That includes, how do we do better PR on campus? How do we find more interesting ways of inviting students to events? And lastly, on the alumni side, Ashesi has a growing alumni population. We like to keep them in touch with Ashesi. How do we go about doing that in the most effective ways? There's ways to do that right now, but then we like to improve, the ways we do that. We like to get them back and try to keep the engine running. Right, thank you.
So what we normally do is we have some frameworks that we use to help the tables structure the conversation around the different topics. It's mostly because of time constraints, right? Because brainstorming is brainstorming. Shouldn't put restrictions on it. But we use the framework to sort of channel the discussion a little bit so that it will be more effective and we can get some good outcomes. So in terms of Michael's project, what we see is that two things. One is he's trying to understand how people engage with Ashesi media, if you will. And on the other hand, he's trying to understand the ecosystem around that, or the stakeholder system, if you will, around how people engage, so that he can improve on the various connections. So what we would like to do is to sort of quickly map out how a user will engage with Ashesi system to get information, but then take it to sort of a cutout of the typical business model canvas, and focus on these areas. So this will be the value proposition that he provides to the user, and then this will be the user. And so one of the key things will be trying to figure out what kind of relationship to establish with a typical user so that he can continue to provide content and continue to work on engagement, the channels to reach this user, and also the key activities he needs to pursue in order to provide this value to the user. So just a few areas in the business model canvas. So that's how we hope the discussion could be structured at the table.
Okay.
With Michael's project, he wanted to get more people, donors, alums, and students, prospective students alike, to visit our web portals more. So before our VFB, Value Fulfillment Blueprint, the students, prospective students and prospective donors, how they hear about Ashesi is they read their brochures, word of mouth, reps, and presentations. They visit our website, they visit our website and social media pages. But these pages don't have high quality of interactions to get them involved in our activities. So this is our product. Like when they come to use it, there's virtual tours, meetings, Ashesi Day, ambassadors who interact with them, alumni response, and students, chats. They can chat with other people. Like with the old website, it's like for more inquiries, call or email. But with here, there's instant chats and podcasts where you can listen in on classroom activities, like you take a virtual tour through school. And our feedback, we get feedback from them and we follow up with them through emails and students. So with our BMC, Business Model Canvas, our value proposition, what we are offering of these people is high level of interactions. We want to get them into the society. Like when the person comes, the tour right from the gate through classrooms in school, the person can choose to sit in on a virtual class, like partake in class. They visit the rooms, the dorms, see how the dorms are, cafeteria. They can chat with students and ask them like cost of food on campus, things like how life on campus is. And the podcast, they listen to club activities and other things that go on. So our customer segments are prospective students, donors, alumni, and students who are still ongoing. And the donors, our value fulfillment for the donors is we want the person to donate money. We want them to see what's going on with the money they donate, like this classroom activities. So the class, as the class is going on, the donor can actually see, at least when I'm donating the student, this is what they do. They can interact with students also to know, and okay, students and alums, so they know like what the students become after they finish Ashesi. And our channels are through presentations, social media, website. We want it to be virtual. Then our customer is the relations. We communicate with them, email, visits, websites, and so our key partners. We are partnering the donors, the ambassadors who are students and alumni, students, web developers, and so our key activities, news stories. We want to post news stories, podcasts, and new publications with a virtual tour and everything, new videos also. So key resources, we need human resources, intellectual resources, financial resources, and everything. So we hope to test our hypothesis with our MVPs later.
Okay, so what advice would you give Michael in going forward?
Okay, in going forward, I would advise him to like speak to prospective students, like research on how prospective students get information about colleges, like universities. And now we found out some, like they visit the colleges, talk to some of the students. So we are trying to reduce that whole burden of having to visit the school itself. So where you take a virtual tour and you get to discuss things with the students online, virtual, and partake in classes. You don't need to visit the school to get information. You can get all this information from us.
Okay, all right.